Good evening, and welcome to Redneck News with Eric Demorowski, Kurt Tolentino, Nathan Rottenstrich, and Jose Cruz.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight we're going to have a great special filled with important information that'll make you a better and safer driver.
Tonight we will have Jose speaking about preparing to drive, Eric about the consequences of drinking and driving under the influence, and me and Kurt will be interviewing officers Tim Franco and Luis Vasquez.
Along with that, Jose will be giving you the weather, Kurt will give you the traffic report, and Nathan will give you the results of a poll that we took recently about what is the biggest issue facing teen drivers.
Well, with that, let's go to the garage where Jose will tell us how to properly prepare to drive.
Thanks, Nate. So, there are a ton of things you have to do before starting the car to make sure that it's safe when you're driving. So first off, when you get in the car, you lock the doors. You put on your seatbelt. You put your key in the ignition, your foot on the brake, and then you can adjust your seat. After that, you check all your mirrors, and then you can go driving.
Thank you, Jose, for that very informative piece on preparing to drive. Next, we will head to Kurt at the traffic report wall to see what the traffic report is.
Hello, everyone. We got 4 issues to tell you about. If you are heading down Amarillo Road towards King Street, be mindful of a car that slid on the ice and T-boned another vehicle. I expect another delay for that. If you're going down Youngston Avenue, watch out for an overturned vehicle that is now closed the road due to emergency personnel activity. Right past the old blue chair bar, a car has crashed into a tree. It has slowed down the traffic a bit, but is beginning to clear up. Our last traffic issue is 2-car accident at the corner of Pine and Maple. One of the cars failed to stop at the stoplight and rear-ended the car ahead of them. I expect that intersection to be closed for 45 minutes, so avoid that area. Hope that helps you all, and I hope you all drive safe.
Thank you, Kurt, for those traffic problems. Now, we will take a quick break, and next we will have Eric in front of the projection screen talking about the consequences of DWI.
Don't let this be you. Don't drink and drive. Brought to you by Rednecks Against Drunk Driving.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I want to talk to you about the consequences of a DWI. First off, a DWI is when someone operates a vehicle while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It has many consequences, but it also has many ways to determine those consequences. First off, if your BAC is 0.08% or lower, then you will receive a $300 to $500 fine, a 12-hour to 48-hour detainment period, up to 30 days jail time, and a loss of license for 3 months. If your BAC is 0.1% or higher, then you will get a $250 to $400 fine, 14 hours to 48 hours detainment period, up to 30 days jail time, and a loss of license for 7 months to 12 months. For a second offense, the fine is increased to $500 to $1,000. You will also get 30 days of community service, 40 hours to 90 days incarceration, a loss of license for 2 years. You will also have to pay $1,000 to the New Jersey DMV for 3 years, and may be required to install an ignition interlock device that won't allow you to start your car if you have been drinking. The third time you face a $1,000 fine, imprisonment for no less than 180 days, loss of license for 10 years, a DMV surcharge of $1,000 to $1,500 for 3 years. You might also need to install an ignition interlock device on your car to make sure you don't drink and drive. But the consequences are much more than that. A DWI can rip a family apart and really affect people. Don't drink and drive. You don't want to cause this damage to anyone.
We will be taking a short commercial break. When we return, we will have Jose in front of the weather wall to give you the weather report.
Good evening, everyone. Today we had some snowy weather in the Midwest area. You must know when driving in snow, decrease your speed and use a lower gear to maintain traction and turn on your low beams. But most importantly, be careful while driving. Up in the Northeast, we had some rainy weather. And when driving in rainy weather, you have to decrease your speed and maintain a proper stopping distance. And if you can, just avoid driving. This intense rain might cause flooding tomorrow. My best suggestion is to don't drive in the rain so you might not end up like these unlucky fellows.
Wow, Nathan, I didn't know you should use lower gears and snowy weather to get more traction.
Yeah, that was really informative. Right when we come back from our commercial break, we'll have an interview with Officer Luis Vasquez and Officer Tim Franco from the Fairlawn Police Department.
If you see this in your rearview mirror, pull over. It may save a life. Thank you from your local firefighters and EMTs.
Hello everyone. Tonight we will have Officer Tim Franco and Police Officer Luis Vasquez from the Fairlawn Police Department joining us.
Let's welcome them in right now.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today.
How often do you guys catch people driving under the influence? We catch about approximately 50 to 60 people a year, based on statistics, but everybody we pull over that we suspect of being under the influence, we'll definitely absolutely check.
What is the thing you pull people over for the most?
Statewide it's speeding, but Louis has a formula that he uses.
Every day is something different for me. One day I'll target cell phones, the next day I'll target speeding, the next day I'll target lights out in their cars. So I try to switch it up every day.
How often do you see people pull over to their cell phone?
For example, this month I worked 3 to 11s. I probably helped about 5 people who were stopped on the side of the road that I would think were disabled. So I stopped and helped them out, and about 5 of them, actually all 5, told me they stopped to use their cell phone. We're 3 weeks into that tour. So 1 month tour. So that's based on the last 2 weeks.
Cell phone violations are a big topic right now because of the distraction thing. So cell phones, there's a lot of summonses being written statewide for cell phone violations, which includes talking or texting.
If you pull someone over and they have a BAC of 0.06%, what would you still write them a ticket?
That question it's a little bit backwards from what we do in New Jersey. In New Jersey, we have to make the arrest before we can test someone for a blood alcohol content. So when we make the arrest, it's made on observation, the officer's observation of the driver while he's driving, and then we do field sobriety tests afterwards. We make that determination that you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Then we bring you in, you're under arrest. Then you get tested for your blood alcohol content. So we have to write a summons when you're under arrest. So you will get the summons. You could blow, we call it blow in 06, or you could blow in 08 or a 15. You still get a summons.
Finally, officers, do you have any recommendations for teen drivers to make them better and safer drivers?
Well, the biggest issue that teen drivers face is inexperience and distractions. So loud music, passengers in the vehicle, cell phone use, and even kids that are kids underage are drinking and driving. 17, 18-year-olds are drinking and driving. It's no good. So, we have recommendations to make everybody a better and safer driver where we say, go out and practice
practice, practice. Even if you think you know what you're doing, you've driven a car for 6 months, you've driven a lot more, you keep practicing. It takes years to master driving. So that's it. And you have to keep in mind also that traffic crashes are the leading cause of death for teenagers in this country. So, and why? Because you have to practice. You can't be distracted. New Jersey has a great GDL law, and part of those GDL laws are, seatbelts on, make sure your cell phone is off, do the speed limit, and lastly, no drinking, no drugs, because kids underage are doing it. Drinking age in New Jersey is 21, but kids underage are doing it.
And passenger restrictions.
And the passenger restrictions are a big thing too.
Well, thank you very much for helping us out.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks Officer Tim Franco and Officer Louis Vasquez for joining us. Next up, we have Nathan's poll question.
So we are going to ask 57 people, 50 on Facebook, 7 people up front. What is the biggest issue during teen driving? One of our choices is driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Another is texting and driving. And the last, lack of experience. Alright, what is the biggest issue facing teen drivers?
Oh, the biggest issue facing teen driving is lack of experience.
Okay, what do you think is the biggest issue in teen driving?
Texting.
Texting? Thank you very much.
Gotcha.
Alright, what is the biggest issue during teen driving?
Texting and driving.
Texting and driving?
Yeah.
Alright, what is the biggest issue during teen driving?
Probably texting and drugs.
Texting and driving.
Yeah.
There you go. What is the biggest issue during teen driving?
Your cell phone.
Cell phone?
Cell phone use. Texting while driving.
What is the biggest issue with teen driving?
Probably the lack of experience,
Thank you.
and hopefully it's not drinking and driving. What was the other one?
Texting.
Yeah, I leave that for dead last. Yeah.
Alright.
And that's pretty much it.
Alright. We asked 57 people what is the biggest issue during teen driving. Our choices were driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol, texting and driving, and lack of experience. So the 7 people we asked up front, 5 people said texting, and 2 people said experience. No one said drugs and alcohol. People on Facebook said texting and driving was the most. Lack of experience was the second, and drugs and alcohol was the last.
Well, that was a very informative special, don't you think, Nathan?
Yes, it really was. I hope you all learned some advice from this, and make yourselves better drivers.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Be well and be safe.
Thank you, Fairlawn Fire Company number 3, Walt Domorowski, Police Officer Louis Vasquez, and Officer Tim Franco.